afternoon. If everyone could please stand. And welcome to the December 4th meeting of the Rotary Club of Atlanta. We have a wonderful program today featuring Atlanta's Mayor, Andre Dickens, giving us an update on the city of Atlanta. So begin to think now about some of the questions you'd like to have. We'll have 2 mics. We're going to do a really rapid-fire opportunity to ask the mayor questions, and we're honored that he's here. Also, we have a program update on the Early Childhood Champions Initiative, and we'll be recognizing our outstanding teachers and educators who've been key to the success of that initiative. Thank you, teachers, for being with us today. And we'll be giving you let's give them a round of applause. We'll hear more from the teachers and about the program in just a moment, but now I'd like to introduce Kwame Johnson to the stage to lead us in the invocation and the pledge, followed by Randall Perkins, who's a second-year graduate student majoring in music at Georgia State University, who will be performing the national anthem. Kwame?
All right, thank you, John. If everyone could bow their heads. And National Nurture Month is next month, so I'd like us to, as we pray today, I'd like you to take a moment and think about the mentors you've had in your life and the role they played. Let us offer thanks to those mentors, those defenders of potential. None of us made it to this room without mentors. We are all blessed to be in this room. Let us offer thanks to our amazing Mayor, Andre Dickens, for making this year the year of the youth, and for lifting up the need for mentorship. Let us continue to strive for the next generation of leaders to also make it to this room. Let us offer thanks for this food and the blessings for one another. And let us be a source of hope for those farthest from opportunity in Atlanta. As we gather here today as members of Rotary Club of Atlanta, let us pray that we can make Atlanta an example for the rest of the country. Thank you. Follow me in the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we've watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Randall, thank you for a great rendition of the national anthem. Now I'm going to ask everyone to sit down, with the exception, if you are a guest today or a visiting Rotarian, if you would stay standing, please. Any guests and visiting Rotarians, please stand. And let's give all the guests and visiting Rotarians a hand, please. We're also honored today to have a visiting Rotarian, Doe Wynn from Nami, Ohio. Doe, where are you? Doe, back in the back. Let's give Doe a hand, please. We're going to start the formal program in just a moment, so enjoy lunch, and we'll be back with you in just a moment. I'm now pleased to introduce fellow Rotarians Lauren Kuntz and Comer Yates to report on the status of the Early Childhood Champions Initiative and to recognize our outstanding teachers and educators. As they come on stage, I would also like to acknowledge a few other folks. Past President Stephanie Blank was really instrumental to coming up with the concept of our early childhood education. Stephanie, you're here. Where are you, Stephanie? Let's give Stephanie a hand, please. Also, I want to acknowledge Randall Kirsch and Shan Cooper. They're co-chairs of the Early Champions Initiative. They can't be with us today, but they've also been key leaders. So along with Lauren, Comer, and Stephanie, let's give all of those folks a great hand for the great work they've done. So with that, I'll turn the program over to Lauren.
Thanks so much, John. Advance this. Is it this one?
Big green button.
Big green button. There you go. So just want to remind everybody, what is the Early Childhood Champion program that we have all gotten behind over the next couple of years? This is all about retaining and training teachers in the early childhood education space, which is in really the 6 weeks to pre-K space. And so the goal that Rotary came along and said, how can we help with the mayor's initiative of the Year of the Youth and really investing in early childhood education, which is such a critical building block for all children, was to give bonuses to teachers to do two things. The first one is a $500 bonus to stay in the classroom for at least 1 year. There has been a lot of turnover in early education centers since the pandemic, and this is a great opportunity for us to be able to reward our teachers for choosing to stay in the profession and in the classroom and in the centers where they are. And then another $500 bonus, plus the Mayor's Award, which is very exciting, and this is to train teachers in the science-based literacy and language programs. This is offered for free on the Cox campus through the Rollins School. And so we are just so excited about where we are to date. So this happened really quickly. We kicked this off on August 1st, so 2 months of enrollment. How are we going to reach all of these potential 1,500 eligible early learning teachers in a 2-month period? And I've got to give a lot of thanks to GEARS and to PACT. GEARS is Georgia Early Education Alliance for Ready Students, and PACT is Promise All Atlanta Children Thrive. Because of the trust that they've built, we were able to reach out to all of these teachers during this enrollment period over 2 months. And after 2 months, we had more than 50% of the teachers that were eligible enrolled. This exceeded our wildest dreams, so that's very exciting. And with this map, you can see that these centers are located all around the city of Atlanta. So it's not just one area. Again, all centers that are eligible in the city of Atlanta are represented right here. And to date, while we've had 759 teachers enrolled and they're in process to completion, we've already had 300 plus trainings completions just since they enrolled. And you're going to see some of these wonderful teachers who are representing their field when they come up on the stage. So I'm going to pass it over to Comer.
Right. Thanks, Lauren, and good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, teachers. We're grateful for you. For context, I want to. Yes, we'll come back. For context, I want to acknowledge Mayor Dickens and remember what he said about 8 months ago. Against all odds, for Mayor Dickens to stand up and say to all of us that his purpose is for Atlanta to become the best place to raise a child. An extraordinary statement in a city where for many of our families it's the most challenging city in the country to raise a child. And for that to happen, for Mayor Dickens' promise to be fulfilled, we got to all be on the ballot with him and not just stand behind him, but stand with him. If Atlanta is going to be the best place to raise a child, it has to be the best place to teach a child. John Lewis said a number of years ago, nothing changes for our children and the plight in which we've left them until we understand and act upon the truth that our preschool teachers are the freedom riders of the 21st century. And I'm grateful that y'all are here today in that role. And just to give you a sense of what they've done, you can see this slide where these 330 teachers, this group representing those, have already taken over 3,000 hours of courses, 6,600 children already in classrooms just a few months later with teachers who have been trained to break the cycle of denied educational opportunity in our city. So Mayor, you're setting a standard for us, a moral standard for all of us. We could not be more grateful, and grateful to the teachers as well. So at this time, out of the 330 first group of teachers who've completed and received the Mayor's Award and will receive it today, I call upon Angel Miller from the Premier Academy to come forward. Angel. And I hope that Angel's name is not lost on anyone here.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Angel Miller. I'm from the lovely Premier Academy, where we strive for excellence. I would like to thank you all first for your commitment and to believing in educators. Thank you to the Rotary Club of Atlanta. Thank you to Gears Pack Initiative. Thank you to Cox Campus. Thank you to Atlanta Speech School. And also thank you to Mayor Dickerson. Believing in education and investing in our success is a major important role as an educator as I stand here today. And we couldn't do it without you all. I absolutely love my journey as an educator, the growth I'm able to encounter with my students, and observing their challenges as they process throughout the year. The Cox Campus training I completed elaborated on a variety of strategies, beneficial strategies, that I use in my classroom today. The first strategy consists of the talk strategy, which consists of a variety of components. And I'm sure my educators know about this talk strategy as well. Would you help me tune in? The T consists of tuning in. The A consists of asking open-ended, detailed questions. The L is lifting language, empowering those tier 2, tier 3 words, and expanding on their vocabulary. The K is keeping it going throughout the day. From the time they arrive in the classroom to the time they depart our classroom, we're building confidence. We build on those language and those social and emotional skills. The next effective strategy, which is close to me, is the ecosystem. And the ecosystem talks about fostering a loving, productive classroom, nurturing, diverse, and inclusive classroom for students. I want you all to take a second and think about your own experience as a child and your childhood memories. If you could think about a classroom that impacted your life with one of your favorite teachers, or it could have been a negative aspect as well, because sometimes we may get educators that don't have the resources to help our students navigate throughout the classrooms. So take a moment and reflect on how you felt entering into a classroom. What did you feel? What did you hear? What did you observe? As you take that time, it made me think about, when I was doing the training, how the ecosystem played an important role in my life and how I needed that experience as a child. I had that one educator, Miss Woods, that was always there for me. And even with me going through my childhood trauma, at the age of 12, my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer and she passed away. Within 5 months later, my father was murdered. So I needed that extra support system. I needed that love, not just love, but I needed that extra love from my other fellow classmates. I needed that genuine love, and I needed her guidance as I navigated through my classroom. So that was one of the most important positive experiences I had on my life when I entered into the classroom. I know that was my safe place. I know that was my happy place. And I know once I enter in Ms. Wood's classroom, she's gonna be there to give me a smile. She's gonna be there to give me a big, big hug, in which I still can remember to this day, and it impacted my life as I'm standing here and as an adult, which impacted me and influenced me to be the educator that I am today. I was able to thrive on my social and emotional skills, because we never know what our babies and our families go through as they enter into our classroom. There are so many barriers, and sometimes they talk about it, and sometimes there's silent battles that they don't mention, and we have to be there. We're their voice, we're their reasons, we're their faces. We have to be there to support them as they enter in our classroom and as we're speaking with them as well. Standing here today makes me think about one of my favorite quotes and looking at everyone as we come together, because it seems like we all on the same page and have the same aspect for our future leaders. And it's by Henry Ford. And it says, coming together is a beginning, working together is progress, and staying together is success. And as we come together as one, we can continue to be successful for our future leaders. We can continue to help them be lifelong learners. We continue to help them be successful as they become into adulthood. And again, I want to thank you all, but before I leave, I want to give a positive praise that I do in my classroom. I'm going to show you how to do it first. Then I want you all to do it with me as well, okay? And it goes like this. Give yourselves a pat, pat, pat on the back, back, back for a job well done. Oh, yeah. But that oh, yeah, like in the classroom, you got to mean it like I tell my students. You got to mean that oh, yeah. You got to say it, okay? And I want everyone to stand up so we can do it together. I'm sorry, I'm putting everybody on the spot. Let me know when you're ready. Give me a thumbs up like I do in the classroom. All right, y'all ready? Let's go. Give yourselves a pat, pat, pat on the back, back, back for a job well done. Oh, yeah! I'm going to say one more thing, and I promise I'm finished. I would like to give a huge, huge thank you to my supportive executive director, Ms. Starla Bailey. Please stand up. I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to be here. It's much more than being an educator with you. I'm blessed to have you in my life, and thank you for this opportunity. And thank you for helping me be the person I am today as well.
Angel, that was wonderful. You have much better control over the audience than I do, so we will try that again in the future. I want to thank Angel, Comer, and Lauren for the excellent overview here. And at this time, we are honored to have Mayor Andre Dickens with us today to hand out the Mayor's Early Literacy Award to our early childhood champions. Let's give a big hand to the mayor and to the champions. Come on up. Come on up, please.
We're going to bring all of our teachers up, and I will ask for you to hold your applause till the end. I know that's hard to do, but we're going to have a big round of applause and a group shot at the end. And teachers, when I call your name, we're going to have a certificate for you that the mayor's going to give to you, and then you'll have a an individual shot with the mayor. Now, if there are a few teachers' names that I call out and they're not here, please keep in mind that these lovely, lovely educators were working today, this morning. They're coming here and they're going to go back and work some more. So there may be last-minute situations where some people couldn't get away. All right, let's get started. Karish Adams, if you'll step forward. Thank you. You can step away. Yes, sir. Right over here. Sharonda Billingsley. There you are. Barbara Browning. Sharonda Clayton. Amber Cox. Trinae Daniels. Takia Dixon. Jasmine Dukes. Shania Hill. Oh, not here today. Okay. Sheena Holbrook. Thank you. Lisa Kiles. Lily Ligon. Denise McRae. Angel Miller. Wadrika Montgomery. Chichi Okafor. She's not here today. Okay. Diamond Rick. Chastity Smith. Marcy Sumlin. Tanya Taylor. And Tara Thomas. We had a little bit of mix-up. All right. We're good. Did we get everybody? Lakeisha Fraley. Yes, I'm sorry. I skipped right over you. Certainly not least, but we put you in last there. Lakeisha Fraley. Here you are. Did everyone get their certificate? Are we missing anybody? Okay, great. So now it's time for a group photo with the mayor.
Teachers, thank you again. I want to thank the audience here at Rotary as well. This is a very important meeting for us, a very important opportunity for us to recognize these outstanding teachers and the success of the Early Childhood Champions Initiative. And with that, I want to ask our mayor to provide a few remarks with regard to his focus and direction. I also want to thank the mayor. I have never met a person that can smile as actively as the mayor can every time the picture is taken. So let's give the mayor a hand as well, please. Thank you.
Good morning. Is it morning? Oh, it's good afternoon now. Good afternoon, Rotarians. How y'all doing? Good afternoon. Thank you, John, for that introduction, and thank you for your friendship and leadership. We've been on a couple of stages already this week, this past 7 days, for all the things you're doing. So thank you, and thank all of you for being here and being such great contributors to this city, the city that we all love so much, and to those educators. Thank you all. You know, I can't express to you what it means to a society to have people that are dedicated to raising the future, to help people get from point A to point B and beyond. You are literally changing lives and contributing to our well-being with every young person that you are able to come into contact with. And so from the bottom of my heart, and the sincerity of my work comes from just giving you wind beneath your wings to do your work is my job. And so thank you, and I'm encouraged by what we're doing today and encouraged by what you guys have been helping with so much. I've been looking forward to joining with you all this year, in part because John asked me every single month, "You still coming, right?" "You still coming?" "Yeah, I'm coming, John." But I am really, really excited that I can be here to celebrate some of the folks who do the most important jobs in our city. As you all know, I declared this year the Year of the Youth in Atlanta, and we launched that earlier this year. It was clear to us that we had a profound responsibility to champion the growth, the development, and the overall well-being of all of our young people. I told my team at City Hall, and Megan is one of them, and I'm sure there's some others in here, of course, Courtney English, that I wanted to make Atlanta the best place in the country to raise a child. And Comer just said that, but that's sincerely what I believe we can be. I was born and raised here. I had the same challenges that a lot of these kids have. I grew up in Adamsville, single parent, all the other things that you hear about, but the village raised me. Atlanta Parks and Recreation raised me. Atlanta Public Schools raised me. Officer Friendly kept me out of trouble at the Atlanta Police Department. On and on and on. And so we all got to do some work to make that happen together. A year ago, my Chief Policy Officer and Senior Advisor, Courtney English, and I came to you with our intention to invest $20 million in early childhood education, which was a first of its kind investment for the city of Atlanta. And I can't take full credit for the idea. Gears and Pack and Stephanie and a whole bunch of other folks really instilled in me that the things that they knew I was interested in, they gave me the methodology, the understanding of really taking it from anecdotal just conversation to let's do something about it. And so we said $20 million was our goal, and we hit it. I really appreciate Rotary Club of Atlanta seeing the value and importance in what we're trying to do. I really sincerely do. And you are partnering with us and stepping up to launch this Early Childhood Champions Initiative to train and retain our early educators, which you see here. I'm happy to report that we did indeed raise the $20 million and have already started issuing grants to early learning providers. So not only do you see the mayor's $500 and the $500 on top of that with the other contributions, but now we are going to these early child care centers, these providers, and we are walking in there with checks for $75,000 to fix all kinds of repairs inside and outside so that every child can have a quality place to grow. And I'd like to offer a personal recognition, again, as I said earlier, to Stephanie Blank for her visionary leadership in both the Rotary. I've been looking for it the whole time. I keep walking around. There you go. All right. For your leadership at both the Rotary, but also at Gear. So thank you for that. Early learners in Atlanta could not have a stronger advocate in Stephanie. So thank you for your leadership in there and your contribution. So while the Year of the Youth started as a simple initiative, it's now a movement. It's a movement. It's got a life of its own. I can't even go to all the events and all of the meetings, and people are just sending me reports. This is what we've done. This is what we did. And so what I challenged my staff with was helping make Atlanta work better for its most vulnerable citizens, which, of course, are our young people. And in order to make it work for them, we had to address the needs of their families. That meant addressing our city's affordable housing challenges, developing pathways to economic stability, and creating safe spaces for young people that also nurtures their dreams and their aspirations. So in reality, our Year of the Youth initiative is a jumping off point for our larger Moving Atlanta Forward agenda. I know that we will cover some of this in our fireside chat that we're going to have in a little while, but I wanted to take a moment to also talk about some of what has kept us busy throughout the year, not just the Year of the Youth things where we had 5,000 young people employed this summer making over $17 an hour. 5,000 kids. We went from 3,000 last year and about 1,500 the years before. We are way in rare air that 5,000 young people can make an average of $17 an hour. Is working for you or working for the world's busiest airport or working in the law department. But beyond all those Year of the Youth things, which has been phenomenal, I wanted to talk also just a little bit before I take my seat with John, is in public safety. I'm happy to report that as of late November, citywide crimes against persons, that includes homicides, rapes, aggravated assault, shootings, are down nearly 20% from this time last year. Also, Also across the city, robberies are down 18%, and so are burglaries as well. The thing that still keeps us up is shoplifting. It's still occurring far too much inside of businesses, and also auto theft from auto. The Kias and Hyundais continue to be a challenge for us. We know that keeping our residents and businesses safe is job number one for a city, and that is why we continue to make common sense investments in police, fire, EMS, and at the same time addressing the root causes of crime in Atlanta. We have not let up on our violence reduction initiatives and our efforts, programs like our repeat offenders tracking unit, Court Watch, Operation Heatwave, and helping us to get violent gangs off the streets of Atlanta. We also built already in my administration 3,000 units of affordable housing, built or preserved 3,000 units of affordable housing with 5,000 in some form of development right now, whether that's pre-construction or construction. We've done a lot of owner-occupied rehab and make sure that people can stay in their homes. And we are looking for a new CEO for Atlanta Housing. As Eugene Jones moves on, he has done amazing work, and so now I'm looking to you. You may know of some leaders that are great in development, great in leading an organization that may want to be the new leader of Atlanta Housing. See Durian, and she can help you get plugged in on that process. In addition to keeping our people safe, we are also responsible for keeping our city's financial stability strong. The city of Atlanta continues to enjoy its strongest credit rating ever and the highest reserves in the city's history. So Moody's and Fitch are all excited about the city of Atlanta. And so this administration will continue to be good stewards of our city's resources. Part of what helps us to attract investment and new business is that we are home to the best airport in the world's busiest and most efficient airport. Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport has now, for the more than 20 years, had that distinguished honor of being the most efficient and busiest airport in the world. This year alone, the airport is expected to see 110 million passengers, right, B? So Barwin B. Adori has to deal with that every single day, so we thank you for that, and thank you, this airport, for being what it is. And so it also got the distinction, which you'll hear about from Business Traveler magazine, just named us as the best airport in North America. Yep, we do all that, 63,000 employees, and still maintain all the federal regulations that's needed. And so circling back to where we began, everything that we are doing in the city of Atlanta, from our policies, our initiatives, our actions, will serve to make this city the best place to raise a family in the United States. Our young people, they will not be able to thrive if we don't get there, if we don't shore up these initiatives, and that can be their foundation. And at the center of this, as we work to change outcomes for our young people, is education. These folks right here, these early educators. That's why I'm thrilled to be here today to help recognize them, this distinguished group of people that's helping our young people. And as we ramp up for the holiday season, I remain thankful to the people of this city, as well as our business and community leaders who continue to believe in this city and the work that we're doing to move Atlanta forward together. So thank you all, Rotary, and I'm enjoying this invitation today. And now, John and I have a fireside chat. Thank you.
So, Mayor, thank you very much for being here today and for letting me text you about every 15 minutes over the last 3 weeks. You were right on time, and it couldn't have gone better. And we're so excited to be recognizing these teachers who have been so key to the Year of the Youth. So let me start out by saying that it's been a wonderful year, but in addition to youth and education, you've also recently received an award from the Technology Association of Georgia as being the Technology Mayor of Atlanta. And I want to thank the Technology Association of Georgia. Larry Williams had an event recently. Tell us a little bit about the technology focus and how education fits into that, and how we're going to get companies to stay here and maintain and grow here in the technology area.
Yeah, thank you, John, for that. I'm excited to be the tech mayor. We never had one before. That's kind of cool. I got an award and everything. Well, you know, my history comes from being in the technology sector with TechBridge and Georgia Tech, of course. And so technology is in my heart, and it's in the fabric of this city now. The companies are here, the companies are coming, and we want to make sure that we are thriving in this ecosystem. My goal is to make Atlanta a top 5 ecosystem for technology. That means that when people start talking about where they want to place their bets on technology, where they're going to place their companies, where they're going to grow their talent, they're not just going to be looking at the coasts. They're looking at Atlanta, Georgia. And so, Larry, thank you, and everybody here, Cummings and Birdsong and others that are here in this room that have done significant work in that area. I think, and you, John, by the way, he and I have taken 2 trips already to Silicon Valley. Each year we've gone out to talk to venture capitalists, talk to private equity, talk to major corporations about having either moving their headquarters here or HQ2s here or investing in Atlanta's current ecosystem. So founders and funders are of interest to me, making sure that we make those quality investments in growing our ecosystem, so much so that I created the inaugural position of a senior technology advisor. That's the very first person to do that is Donnie Beamer, and he's got off to a great start. We have a nice office down at CODA if you want to visit there to talk about all the things that we want to do in technology. The last thing I'll say about technology, the companies are coming and the companies are here and the talent is here. You can't deny the fact that we have so much talent that these companies and startups are looking at us like, okay, it's less expensive than the coasts, and there's a lot of activities that are happening, and people are coming out of these colleges and universities ready. And it's diverse talent. It's talent that they don't have to manufacture the diverse perspectives on the development of companies. And so we're going to keep pushing and going to keep thriving. What I want to do is make sure that we continue to grow local talent, that folks that are in their pre-K or preschool classes are going to get trained to one day take over these technology companies or start their own. And so I think the pipelining is of importance, and that's what we're also committed to.
So, Mayor, thank you for your support there, and it's been outstanding. Let me say, too, we have 2 microphones, and I want to make sure that if members have questions, we're going to try to run through a series of questions. I would ask if members can keep their questions short, and Mayor will be happy to respond to those. So please feel free to go ahead, and if you want to come to the mic, that'd be great. But, Mayor, let me ask you, too, one of the unique things I think about the city and something that you've done is the relationship between the city and the state. Yeah. And to deal with what's currently in an environment where there's a lot of division and divisiveness. But you've done a great job of maintaining a close relationship with folks on the state level. How have you done it in this current environment, and do you see that continuing?
Yeah, I mean, division is such an easy place to go. The internet helps us with it. It like literally feeds us algorithms that's based on our current positions and just keeps feeding us that. And so folks get divided when they want to be divided. They get divided when they don't want to be divided. But we have to be intentional about drawing those circles and not drawing lines. And that's how I came into this mayoralty, and that's how I will continue to lead. Is I see past those political lines of Democrat, Republican. I see past those jurisdictional lines. As you can see, me working with the ARC. I'll be the new incoming chairman of the ARC. I really see that the ecosystem doesn't really have a lot of requirements around me saying I'm over here and you over there. It really requires us to be together. When we're fighting crime doesn't really stop at a border. The criminal sees an opportunity. They don't say, oh, that's a new city. I can't go over there. And neither does transportation. Neither does workforce development. Neither does our water system and our environment. All of these things are interconnected. So the governor and I, we shake hands and we commit to working hard on, the 85 to 90% of the things that we agree upon, which are actually the same things that we all agree upon. That pothole doesn't care how you voted 10 years ago or who your parents voted for. They're like, it just needs some asphalt, right? And so all of those things are really nuts and bolts of government. And so I try to draw as many circles as possible. I will be at the State House in 2 or 3 hours, right? So I'll be over there today checking in on some things. And the same is true for when I go up to the White House 6 or 7 times a year. It doesn't matter to me. It's whatever's going to get the job done here in the city of Atlanta.
Well, thank you. And by the way, I think when you first came, visited us right after you became mayor, you were the pothole mayor for a period of time. How many potholes did you fill in, Mr. Mayor?
Oh, yeah. We continue to fill potholes. We still have the pothole posse, y'all. So 40 potholes per day we fill. Yeah. That's a good and a bad thing. Why do we have 40 potholes a day that need to be filled? But 40 a day, and within about 5 to 6 days, if you call 311 and say on X and X, this intersection, there's a pothole on the northbound side of it, in about 5 to 6 days it'll get filled. My hope is that we continue to, fix the water infrastructure that makes for those potholes, and then that we repave the roads so that you don't get a pothole as soon. But in the meanwhile, we filled over 11,000 potholes a year, and then, and I even did my own one day. I put on a hard hat and learned how to do it. It's hard work, y'all. It's way, way better to just be mayor than to go out there and fill potholes.
Well, it's an important part of your job, but we appreciate it. And we've got other issues, too. So we have a question. Let's grab away.
Mayor Dickens.
You're on.
It's on? I want you to know my wife and I pray for you every day. I, too, am a native Atlantan, lived here all my life. And it hurts my heart when I drive through the downtown connector to see all the graffiti on the overpasses. We realize that millions of people, the only thing they know about Atlanta is when they drive through it. And when they see that, it sends a message that somebody is not doing what they should to present the best possible image of the city as they drive through it. What can be done about graffiti, specifically over the interstate highways through the city?
Thank you for that. One, thank you for you and your wife's prayers. I need them, and I'll pray for you as well. That's getting me through a lot of stuff because it's hard work. And I am now becoming more attentive to the graffiti problem. I would admit that the key to me getting certain things done is to know what to leave undone. It was difficult when you're facing so much crime and so many challenges to then turn your attention to trying to enforce and catch people at 4 a.m. Hanging upside down doing graffiti on an interstate overpass. Now we've managed the 171 murders down to today. We're in the 120 land, which is still 120 too many, but it's 50 people that's going to see Christmas that just saw Thanksgiving, thanks to the things that we put in place. And so now working with the state, those overpasses are actually controlled by the Georgia DOT. Everything on the interstate and everything in the overpasses are the state of Georgia's property. And so for us, we just have to sound the alarm at the gate, tell them please get on this, and then if not, give us the authority to clean it ourselves, and then we go out there and spend some money and some time in doing so. I even thought recently about some kids that I heard were truant and got themselves in some trouble. Like removing graffiti could be a good time kill for them to learn a valuable lesson. So I mean, I hope nobody's recording that, but like putting people, to co-work with somebody in a Department of Transportation's office to work together to see, how to fix a problem that somebody else might have solved. So we actually just had a conversation about turning our attention to that. And I'll be honest, y'all, that was one of those things I'd see it and I'd say, I'm gonna get to it, but it was like, compared to the other critical issues, I said, that's the second half. This is the first 2 years. And so the second half, I think I can focus on that. You'll see some results soon.
Mayor, we appreciate that. Let me get you to pick up, let's give the mayor a hand for the rest of that issue. So, Mayor, that really ties also into the homelessness issue. And we had a program a couple weeks ago on homelessness here, an excellent program. You alluded to that. Can you talk a little bit more about that? I noticed in the paper recently there was some discussion about the airport and homelessness. What are we doing in that regard, and how are we comparing with, frankly, other cities dealing with it?
Yeah, part of our cabinet meeting this morning, 9 a.m., was on people experiencing homelessness and what we're doing through Partners for Home. And, I see so many folks in here who have stepped up to help with that. People like Margie Stagmeyer with Star C. We just gave them $2 million to help with eviction relief, because the first start of it usually is we want to catch people before they even experiencing homelessness. So when we start seeing you're behind on rent or mortgage, we have safety nets in place. It's a lot easier to give you the $600-700 that you're behind on, or $1,000 that you're behind on, than to see you experiencing homelessness and try to get you all the way back to a sheltered environment. So we're doing a lot of work now on eviction prevention, eviction relief. But our report today said that 200 people every month are coming into are now beginning to experience homelessness. So every single month we get a new 200 people into the city of Atlanta. Some of them are city residents that couldn't pay their rent, and then they tried to lean on friends, and then after a while that wore off, and they slept in their car, and after a while that wore off, and now they're on our streets. Some have come from surrounding jurisdictions that don't have shelters, that don't have resources of housing. Some have come as far as other states. I met some young people from Chattanooga the other day, and yes, I do talk to folks. They were from Chattanooga. They were coming here to get a better life, but they only had 3 days worth of dollars. But they thought Atlanta would solve their problems, and they ended up being homeless. So what I'm sharing with you is that we have efforts. We rehoused 2,400 people last year. So far this year, we're constantly rehousing people. But are we keeping up with the 200 new people that are experiencing homelessness? Everything is more expensive now, and people aren't making incomes to keep up with the rising cost of housing. And if other jurisdictions turn their eye to it, those people that start experiencing homelessness in other counties, they just find Atlanta because it's real easy to get here. And it's growing. And so we're committing even more money towards it. But part of the solution is we have rapid housing. We're starting to build these tiny container homes and trailers. We got 40 that we're going to open up on December 23rd, just in time for Christmas. And then we got another 50 that we're going to do at a motel that we're converting. So I'm letting you know it's 20 30s, 50s here, there of housing for people experiencing homelessness. The thing I'll say also is mental health is a very real growing problem. And everybody that has ever asked you for a vote, and for y'all, they ask y'all for money first, then your vote. Anybody that's ever asked you for both or either, you need to tell them, how can you help us on getting resources for people experiencing mental health challenges? That means federal folks, state folks, local folks, because it is very real, and individuals that are out there on the streets are experiencing a lot of times some form of challenges. And sometimes the chicken and egg, you don't know which came first. But I know if I was sleeping outside for 70, 80 days straight, I might show some signs of needing some mental health support.
Mayor, thank you for your work. That's a very important issue. We appreciate it. Anna, why don't you give a question?
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Dickens, for the Year of the Youth and all of the work you've done. I'm going to flip us back to education for a second. I'm in K through 12 education myself, and so grateful to all of you and the early education work that you do. It's foundational and simply pivotal. Being in a K through 12 space, I think a lot also about our high school students and their future, the choice to head toward college, if that's accessible financially, which is a critical question these days. And I'm so excited for our city being the technology, I heard the other day Atlanta referred to as the battery belt, I believe, of the nation.
Yeah, for EVs.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes, for EVs. And it just makes me wonder, is there a way that we can create partnerships for high schools, for these remarkable Atlanta citizens, to start to connect them into these roles with technology? I struggle as a K through 12 leader, how to connect my students with all of the options that are available. And I would love some help from the city coming top down into that space.
Great. And so we have some great pilots that are showing results, pilot programs that are showing results that we need to add more capacity to. I'll give you an example. Atlanta College and Career Academy, which is a part of Atlanta Public Schools, they have a auto mechanics program, as well as, culinary arts, as well as some construction stuff. And so they have been teaching kids on how to fix the combustion engine, the regular motor. Now, with our partnership with Hertz and Uber, we got a Chevrolet Bolt that's all electric, and so we're training kids on how to fix electric vehicles now and how to repair those, because it's basically you're an electrician now, not really an auto mechanic as in the past. And so we're already training them. So that started this year, maybe 5 months ago. And that's the first of its kind. So we have to grow more and more of these. So what we've been doing is taking whatever partnership we can, whatever little resource we can. I'll pull some money from, our work source grants. I'll pull some money from APS. I'll raise some money here, and then we'll braid that together. Megan and others will say, how do we put that in somebody's hands to do a thing with it? Same with technology training, with TechBridge and Europe and others. We are helping kids, but I think that we have to use some, now that we've seen the success of these programs, we have to add more capacity to it, more money to it, more training of the professionals that will train the trainer type thing. So I'm all in. I'm very interested in how we can do more.
Great. Another question.
Hi, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm Patrick O'Carroll with the Task Force for Global Health, and it's a related question. First of all, it's inspirational, this idea of being the best city in the country to raise a family. It really is. It's marvelous, and thank you for that leadership. And of course, early childhood education, early childhood experiences are especially critical. Having said that, of course, childhood doesn't end at age 6 or 8 or 9. It continues really into the early 20s. And I would love for this to be the greatest city in the world to raise an adolescent as well, in all of its dimensions. Adolescence, that's when people develop either healthy or unhealthy approaches to their diet, to exercise, to interpersonal challenges, to their own sexuality. That's when they do or do not take up smoking and drug abuse and so forth. So it's an incredibly important era of a person's life, this second decade of life. And we don't have the same coordinated approach to protecting that the way we do for young children. And is that part of your plan to make this the healthiest city in America to raise an adolescent?
So the Year of the youth for us goes from 0 to 24. So our programs are, there may be some are segmented towards early childhood education. That's the work that I was inspired to do by Gears and Pat and Stephanie and all the rest. So this group is doing the early work because we were doing the K through 12 work, and then still APS and others would tell us, you already are seeing a huge difference by age 5. Like, these kids are coming in different. And it's only like, you only got 5 years? Yeah, 5 years has made a big difference by how many words they hear in their household, how they've learned conflict resolution. Some just sit in front of grandma's TV as their preschool education. And others are going to real bona fide programs, right? Like the YMCA and others that we have here, Bright Horizons and others. So the disparities are starting early, but we get some corrections that can happen in K through 12 and middle school and some in high school. So we made significant investments in high school. And when I say 5,000 people were employed this summer, those were between the ages of 14 to 24. So some were adolescents and some were young adults. But you're right, there's no glue after about 16 to 18. After those ages, they do their own thing, and so it's a lot of incentivizing. So like Accenture, I'm seeing Chloe, one of the things she helped us with was paying for kids while they were training. So we have a lot of folks that want to hire them once they're trained, but we have to actually pay them or nurture them while they're going through some training. And so that's the big, so I think we have to use all our tools that are out there to attract them into these programs, hold them and keep them while they're going through the programs, because life keeps coming at them so fast with distractions, and then make sure they have great jobs afterwards. Health is something I'm interested in, and I want us to get there. It's just hard for me to do all those things because I got a county that's supposed to be responsible for health and human services. So same tax dollars, by the way. City got the same thing as the county. So put the county folks in this hot seat next time. So everybody, you pay taxes to a lot of folks, and not just the mayor. So county deals with health too. All right.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you. That's a good question. So one of the things we asked the mayor to do was to think through our theme of leadership lessons for service and growth. So you may want to take a photo of the lessons that our mayor has come up with in leadership lessons, some great lessons. I see them leading us off in solitary. You do a great job in that regard. Well, I think we have time for one more question. Sam, fire away.
Okay. Well, I think this list right here, for a mayor to get along with the state governor, to unite the city, and to get along with our suburban counties, it is one hell of a leadership lesson in itself. And I can't thank you enough for bridging that gap. One industry that we haven't talked about is our biggest industry sitting right under our nose, and that is our universities and our hospitals, EDS and MEDS. Pittsburgh recovered after the plate glass and steel industry left by uniting their hospitals and their universities to work as a team with their city. And I would urge you to look at that, not only in the city, but also in the region. In the region, there are 350,000 jobs if you combine our universities and our hospitals. But we don't really look at them as an industry like we do batteries or other things. And I'd urge you to take a look at that and see what you can challenge those to do. We get a lot of research money here, in National Institutes of Health, National Science Foundation, CDC, so many others that bring in hundreds of millions of dollars that enhance us as an innovation city. And of course, the graduates of our universities staff our hospitals and staff our businesses and our city government. So I'd urge you, EDS and MEDS is an important industry, but we need to feed it and challenge it more. But thank you for what you do.
And Mayor, we had one hospital that closed, so tell us a little bit about your thoughts on that.
Oh,
yeah,
boy.
no, thank you so much for that, EDS and MEDS. I'll make sure that's good to think through and try to work on some collaborative things on that. I know Dr. Blake was here a little while ago from Georgia State. You said, oh, there he is right there. Oh, everybody left you. Dr. Blake, we're actually on his campus, I believe. Everything downtown is Georgia State. So, but I'm a Panther as an alum. I went to grad school there, and so I think that, he and I, along with Angel Cabrera and Morehouse School of Medicine and all the other institutions here, should really consider what you just said about how to have a pipeline into the professions of the universities and colleges, et cetera. We are, because of a hospital closing, I'm working with the county and with some institutions that we're hoping will go ahead on and try to work with buying the property or acquiring it from Wellstar. We're trying to make the deal one that makes sense so that folks can afford it and so that they can operate it. One thing we don't want is an unsustainable model. We don't want somebody to buy it, make a hospital, and then it collapses again. We can't just redo this cycle of failing hospitals. So we want to make sure it's right-sized and have the right identity to it. We're talking to Morehouse School of Medicine, who, if you think about other cities across the nation, like DC has a number of hospitals, including Howard University's has a hospital, Meharry Medical College, and other places. You have these colleges that also have a hospital or a partnership with a hospital so that you're training them and then they do their residency and then they become doctors. It's really, for nurses and doctors, by the way. It's not just training the doctors, it's training nurses and all the caregivers. So we're looking and learning a lot about this. Again, direct purview of a mayor is everything in everybody's minds, and it becomes that. But really, you also have, the state and the county are responsible for the health and human services, the hospitals, et cetera. But I want our people to be healthy in this city, so I dive into these things as well.
Mayor, you've done a great job. I think these 3 leadership lessons, learn to balance competing interests, I guess that's what you do every day, probably 100 times a day. Keep the main thing, and governing is collaborative, leading is often solitary. Let me say today, we want you to know that we're with you, we're behind you, we're behind all these teachers. We appreciate very much you being here. Teachers, fantastic. Let's give them all a hand, please.
Thank y'all. Thank you guys.
We have three great upcoming programs. Jimmy Etheridge, December 11th, former CEO of Accenture, talking about his leadership lessons. Rotarian Daughters Day, Dominique Dawes, Olympic gold medalist. Thank you, Bob Hope, for getting Dominique here. Unbelievably talented. And then on January 8th, we'll have Raphael Bostic, President and CEO of Federal Reserve Bank of Atlanta. He'll give us the inside story. One more big hand for the mayor, for all the teachers.
I know Jimmy and I know Raphael, but there are no Dominique Dawes.